I never imagined a decision as simple as moving into a nursing home could completely change my life. But at 82, I wish I had known what I know now. When faced with the choice of moving into a nursing home, most people think of a safe, practical solution, comfort, care, and convenience all neatly packaged. But what if I told you that the reality is far more complicated and the consequences more profound than anyone could prepare you for? After making the decision myself, I discovered lessons that I wish someone had shared with me beforehand. If you're considering this for yourself or a loved one, these 6 unexpected truths could change everything. Trust me, the decision to move into a nursing home isn't as simple as it seems. Let me tell you why. If you are not subscribed, subscribe and activate the notification bell so you don't miss any videos. 1. The loss of independence. The most profound shock I experienced after moving into a nursing home was not the small room, rigid meal times, or unfamiliar faces. It was a sudden loss of my independence. Before the move, I had complete control over my daily routines. I decided when to wake up, what time to eat, and how to spend my day. Whether it was a morning walk in the park, diving into my favorite book, or enjoying peaceful solitude, my life was mine to direct. These small, personal choices were a source of comfort and self-determination. However, in the nursing home, I quickly realized that my autonomy had vanished. Everything became governed by a strict schedule set by others. Meals were served at specific times, whether I was hungry or not. Bedtime was dictated by the staff, regardless of whether I felt ready to sleep. Want to go for a walk? That would require permission and assistance, often leading to long waits. Even simple choices, like selecting my clothes or deciding what to eat, were no longer in my hands. What used to be basic rights felt more like privileges, granted at the discretion of someone else. I vividly recall my first week in the nursing home, sitting in a bed that wasn't mine, reaching for my book, only to realize that I wasn't in my own home anymore. The personal touches that once made my space feel uniquely mine, the familiar chair, the comforting atmosphere I created over the years, were now replaced by sterile, impersonal walls. The disconnection I felt was overwhelming, and I began to understand that independence is not just about physical freedom, but also about the emotional connection to your environment. Once you surrender your independence, regaining it is a difficult challenge. You stop questioning the schedule, stop asking for small freedoms, and begin to adapt. Yet, in this adaptation, parts of yourself start to fade. Before deciding to move into a nursing home, ask yourself, are you ready to relinquish the small but significant choices that make life truly yours? 2. The growing sense of being forgotten. One of the most difficult parts of moving into a nursing home is the overwhelming sense that the world outside continues without you. My family promised that they would visit regularly, and initially, they kept their word. At first, their visits brought a sense of continuity and connection to my old life. My daughter came once a week, and my grandchildren would visit on weekends. For a while, it felt like I still mattered in their lives, like I hadn't completely faded into the background. However, over time, those visits became less frequent. The phone calls started replacing the visits, and the promises of family gatherings for holidays often went unfulfilled. Slowly, I found myself sitting in the common room, surrounded by others who, like me, were waiting for visitors who never came. It wasn't that my family loved me any less, but rather that life simply got in the way. The longer you are away from the hustle and bustle of everyday life, the easier it becomes for others to forget just how much you still need them. I remember one particular evening, sitting alone in my room, debating whether or not to call my son. I didn't want to be a burden, so I eventually set the phone down, a painful realization sinking in that this was now my reality. This was my life. And no matter how much I yearned for the connections of the past, they seemed to slip further away with each passing day. Before deciding to move into a nursing home, it's important to ask yourself, are you ready to face the loneliness that often accompanies it? Even the most loving families can become distant once you're out of sight, and you might find yourself wondering if anyone still remembers you. The isolation can be a heavy and silent weight, one that often becomes more difficult to bear as time goes on. 3. The loss of purpose. Before moving into the nursing home, I had a clear sense of purpose in my life. I had responsibilities, hobbies, and daily routines that gave me a reason to get up each morning. Watering the plants, preparing my meals, and tidying up my space were small tasks that, together, helped me feel in control of my day. These actions gave me a sense of accomplishment and meaning. But once I moved into the nursing home, these simple rituals faded away. Meals were prepared for me. Cleaning was done by the staff, and the plants that once brought me joy were no longer mine to tend. At first, I tried to convince myself that it was nice to relax. No more chores, no more responsibilities, just rest. But after a few weeks, I started to notice a growing emptiness. The days began to stretch on, filled with little more than waiting for time to pass. I saw the same disconnection in the other residents, too. People who once had energy and purpose now spent their days sitting idly, staring into space. I remember George, an 84-year-old carpenter, who had spent his life building and fixing things. But in the nursing home, there were no tools or projects for him. Watching him withdraw into himself, I saw how the loss of purpose drained him of his spirit. If you are considering moving into a nursing home, ask yourself, what gives your life meaning? It's not just about passing the time. It's about holding on to the things that keep you feeling alive. The struggle to find a sense of purpose in this new environment can be profound. The absence of daily responsibilities, once a source of pride, can make it harder to feel connected to the world around you. Finding purpose becomes essential to maintaining your sense of self in a place where time often feels meaningless. If you're still watching this video and find these lessons useful, please comment 1. below to let me know that you are still here with me. 4. Declining health faster than expected. When I first moved into the nursing home, I was in decent health. I wasn't in my prime, but I could still walk, cook, and take care of myself. I had routines that helped keep me active and maintain my health. But once I settled in, everything changed. At first, it felt like I was simply taking a break from the responsibilities of daily life. Meals were brought to me, and I no longer had to worry about cooking or cleaning. It seemed like a relief at first, but the more I stopped doing for myself, the weaker I became. I stopped moving as much. My legs began to stiffen, and getting out of a chair became harder with each passing day. I noticed that people who had once walked on their own now relied on wheelchairs. I remember my neighbor, Alice, who was once energetic and strong. Over time, she began using a walker and eventually a wheelchair. One day, she looked at me and said, "I feel like I've aged 10 years in just a few months." Her words stuck with me because I could see the toll that inactivity had taken on her. The more help you receive, the more dependent you become. It's easy to forget how vital movement is, not just for convenience, but for your physical well-being. If I had known how quickly I would lose my strength, I would have fought harder to stay active. But in the nursing home, everything is designed to make life effortless. Meals served to you, assistance with daily tasks. But this comfort comes at the cost of independence and physical health. It's a slippery slope, and soon you realize that the things you once took for granted, like being able to walk on your own, are no longer as easy. If you're considering moving into a nursing home, ask yourself, will you still have the motivation to stay physically active when everything is designed to make life easier? The answer could be the difference between maintaining your health or watching it decline faster than you expected. 5. Loss of privacy and dignity. One thing I hadn't fully considered when moving into the nursing home was just how much privacy I would lose. At home, I had my own space where I could sit in silence or go about my day on my terms. I could retreat into my world whenever I needed to. But in the nursing home, privacy became a rare luxury. From the moment I arrived, I felt like I was constantly being watched. Room checks were scheduled regularly. Shared spaces became a norm, and the staff was always present. It felt as though there was no moment when I could truly be alone. Even the most basic activities, like showering or using the bathroom, required assistance from someone else. It wasn't that the staff didn't care. They were simply doing their jobs. However, accepting help for tasks that I had always done independently was difficult. It was hard to swallow the fact that I no longer had control over many aspects of my daily routine. At first, I struggled with asking for permission to do simple things like taking a shower or deciding what I wanted to eat. I had to adjust to the reality that my room wasn't truly mine anymore. Sharing the space with someone else only made it feel even less personal and more like a temporary spot in an unfamiliar place. If you're considering a nursing home, ask yourself, are you ready to give up the privacy and control you've had over your life? It's not just about the loss of physical space. It's about losing the ability to make decisions freely and maintain the small dignities that once gave you a sense of independence. The erosion of privacy can make you feel less like yourself and more like a passive participant in your own life. 6. Leaving is harder than you think. When I first moved into the nursing home, I thought it would be a temporary decision. I told myself I could give it a try, and if I didn't like it, I could always return home. What I didn't anticipate was how difficult it would be to leave once I settled in. After months of living in a place where I didn't have to cook or clean, I began to notice that I wasn't as strong or independent as I used to be. My physical abilities had diminished, and I started to doubt my capacity to live on my own again. That fear of not being able to manage kept me stuck in the nursing home longer than I expected. Once you're in, leaving becomes far more complicated than it seems. Your home may no longer be the same. I discovered that my children had already started selling my things, making it even harder to imagine returning to life I once knew. For some people, leaving is no longer an option at all, whether due to the sale of their home, the depletion of their savings, or the realization that they can no longer manage on their own. It's a reality that creeps up slowly, and before you know it, the possibility of going back seems out of reach. If you're considering moving into a nursing home, ask yourself, are you prepared for the possibility that once you go in, leaving might not be as simple as you think? It's easy to think of it as a temporary solution, but the longer you stay, the more complicated it becomes to leave. Your independence, once easily taken for granted, may start slipping away in ways you didn't expect. As we explore today, moving into a nursing home brings many unexpected challenges that go beyond just adjusting to a new environment, from a loss of independence and privacy to the fear of being forgotten or losing purpose. It's a journey that requires resilience and acceptance. Each of these changes affects us in ways we may not fully understand until we experience them firsthand. So, what have you learned from this video? How do you feel about the sacrifices involved in such a life transition? I'd love to hear your thoughts. Please leave a comment below and share one thing you've learned from this video that you will carry with you moving forward. If you like this video, don't forget to leave your comment, and please like, share, and subscribe to our YouTube channel for more insights and conversations. Thanks for watching.